Well, the time's come to conduct graduation for the Fire Service Chief Executive Officer Program, class number 22. However, before I go any further, I want to recognize some very distinguished guests that are joining us this afternoon, certainly very important to the support of this program. First, I would like to recognize and thank all of our faculty and staff over at the Mays School of Business and specifically at the Center for Executive Development for another outstanding week. In fact, we just give them a really quick hand. And on that note, I would like to recognize the Executive Director for the Center for Executive Development, Dr. Brandy Plunkett. As I mentioned at our Wednesday evening dinner, it is Dr. Plunkett's original vision and her continued commitment to the program that just enables us to stay relevant and provide outstanding content for each of you in this program. And her efforts go so far to make this a great program. Thank you very much. And next, as you know, the FSCEO program is very much a TEACS program too. So now it is my honor to introduce to you some of our key TEACS leadership. Each of our TEACS leaders here today are former fire service chief officers, and without their support, the FSCEO program simply would not be possible. So I'd like to recognize the Estee Public Sector Director, Paul Siebert. And next, I would like to recognize Estee Associate Division Director, Randy McGregor. And next, I would like to recognize Estee Division Director, Chris Angerer. And last but not least, I would like to recognize our TEACS Deputy Agency Director and Chief Operating Officer, Tony Kreitz. Thank you each gentlemen for being with us here this afternoon. So at this time, I'd like to also just say a few extra words of thanks for the hard work that goes into making this week possible. I would like to thank Maya Van Slyke and Mary Reeves for all of their help with the program. Maya and Mary work, of course, as you know, hard behind the scenes to make sure that your registration and your accommodations go as smoothly as possible. Unfortunately, Maya couldn't be here to join us this afternoon, but she does send her regards. But special thanks to Maya and Mary. Of course, I'd like to thank our marketing team. Our marketing team is always giving us their tireless efforts, and that consists of Kara Humphreys, Janet Lamb, and Bobby Bernshausen. And they are always there quietly supporting us, and they're in the shadows. They rarely ever seen, but they always make us look good, and we appreciate you so much. And I would be remiss if I did not take just a moment and recognize Senior Program Coordinator Allie McConnell. As you've seen this week, Allie has made a huge impact. She's not only just a great coordinator, I think you would agree with that, but that she makes everything go right this week, and it takes a lot of effort to do that. And I just want to say a special thanks to Allie. Thank you. And now for some poignant words. We have a few guests that will be sharing a few words, and I thought it would be perfect to start off with Dr. Plunkett.
Thank you, Sean. And I know we've all visited several times this week. So let me take this opportunity to say how honored and privileged we are at Texas A&M and Mays Business School and the Center to be able to have this partnership with TEACS. It's been many, many years now. How many years? Pop quiz. It's like quite a few. 15, I think. Well, it's been a long time when the two people in charge don't know how long it's been. But it's been at least 14 or 15 years, and I was fortunate enough, like Sean said, to be there at the beginning, but it is a wonderful partnership because it brings, in my opinion, the best of two parts of the A&M system in terms of TEACS being such a phenomenal state agency that everything they do is about saving lives or making lives better for the citizens of Texas, and their impact is felt around the country because Texas Task Force 1 runs out of there, and we all know that they're my personal opinion, one of the best task forces, and they're always willing to help. So you've got this wonderful entity, TEACS, and you have the A&M University and the fine professors that not only are experts in their field, but they truly care about making sure that they're adding value to our folks that come through these programs, especially the Fire Chiefs program. Every one of them always says, I just love it when the chiefs are here. I love it when the fire chiefs are here. They're the best class. And I happened to be driving over here when Dr. Chambers was walking to her car, so we met each other in the parking lot. She was your last session for the day, and she's a very dear friend of mine, so she will tell me what she really thinks, and she gushed about this particular group. All of our fire chief groups have been great, but she really was impressed with everything that everyone brought into the room and all your knowledge and all you were already doing about building a positive culture and being driven by your visions and your missions. And so I wanted to pass that along to you and ask you to think about as you go back, and I know we've already said this, but think about who you're going to go back and pour into. How are you going to take this experience this week and everything that everybody has brought to you and take it back and share it with your department? And a couple of things that I would encourage you to think about, because when we talk about vision and mission and purpose, it's almost a no-brainer in something like the fire service, where your whole world is about serving others and taking care of others. So it's easy for us to take care of ourselves as well. But that vision needs to be integrated and understood and be able to be explained by every single member of the department. And that means from the chief all the way to the volunteer, to the person who's sweeping up, to the brand new rookie. And I know you all recognize this, so I'm probably telling you something that you've already talked about in class, but I want to remind you that all of these wonderful things that we've talked about this week, they're not easy. It's not easy to pull off a productive and positive culture for every person in the organization. And it's real easy when we're at that 60,000 foot level to look around and think everything's going well. It takes time and energy to come down to the 10,000 foot level every once in a while and check in and make sure that everybody understands why we do what we do and how we do what we do. A couple of weeks ago, Allie and I had the opportunity. We needed to go back to visit our friends at Los Alamos National Labs in New Mexico. That's a nuclear lab, and we've worked with them for a couple of years now, very close to them. And one of their former directors, who had been serving as a mentor to one of the groups in our program, had been tragically killed. And so we went back for his funeral. And this is a man who has a 3-page long list of the accomplishments. He's a physicist. He's led this country in so many things. At one time, he was one of 4 people in the world who could sign off on nuclear weapons for the United States. He's a musician. He had done all of these things. And his accomplishments were just, you just don't hear about that. But what people talked about when they got up and talked about him, and there were at least 6 speakers, they talked about his ability to be fully present with anyone and everyone that he talked to, whether it was people in Washington, whether it was the National Nuclear Administration, or whether it was a mid-level manager just trying to learn to be better. He would be fully present, and they said, you never understood how much pressure and how what he was going through, because when he was with you, you were the center of his attention. And if someone like that can slow down and be present, it was inspiring to me to hear that, because I thought, how many times am I busy, and checking in, saying howdy y'all, and then on my way. And if someone like that can stop and make people feel like he really cares, he understands, he's interested, then we can all do that as well. And I know that that's the kind of mindset and the kind of values that we all carry. But I was reminded that day, that's what I say I want to do, but do I always do that, right? And so this week has been that opportunity for you, I hope, to think about those kinds of things. Some of, it's not earth-shattering new information that we hear, but it's the opportunity to talk about what we're already doing with people in our field and with experts that are bringing a little bit of a new perspective or a different perspective, and then really think about how are we living that out when we go back. And so I just want to encourage you to think about that as you drive home today or as you're with your family this weekend, and thanking them for taking care of everything while you've been gone this week. Don't forget, flowers and cards go over really well. But think about that. Can you think of times when you can slow down and focus on all those individuals that are working so hard for you to make things successful? I just think that that's one of the easiest things to forget. So I wanted to share that with you and remind you of that before you leave. But again, I want to thank you for the energy that you brought this week, for the expertise, for the knowledge that you shared, for the camaraderie that you shared. It was noticed by all of our team and our faculty that this particular group has a personality and a reputation now for being really great, really engaged. It's been a privilege and an honor to have you in our center. Teeks, again, thank you so much for the privilege and the honor of working with all of you and the things, knowing what you do for our state and our country. We really appreciate the opportunity to be a part of it. I hope everyone has a safe trip home. On behalf of Mays and Texas A&M, I bid you a happy graduation and a wonderful remainder of the year. So thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Plunkett. Okay, at this time, I'd like to ask SD Division Director Chris Angerer to come up to the podium and share a few words with us.
Well, it's my great honor to be able to stand before you today, and I just appreciate the fact that you're sharing your leadership, your personal, your professional development as you're going through your careers. I've sat similarly in places like where you're sitting right now, wearing the Class A's and wearing the badge, and now I'm in a position where not necessarily the power, but the influence over people's lives each and every day. And so I just appreciate the fact that you have brought your journey here and allowed us to be a part of that as you develop and as you grow as a chief officer and how you grow your people back home. Because even the relationships that you've formed over the last few days will have a life-changing impact. And you never know when or where, but it will. And so I just appreciate the fact that you have joined alongside of us in the Mays Business School to be challenged and to be able to take those lessons learned and to be able to take that influence back with you. And I appreciate you being here today, and have a wonderful day and a great graduation.
Thank you, Chief. And now I'd like to ask Deputy Agency Director and Chief Operating Officer Tony Kreitz to come up to the podium.
Mine will be very brief. I just want to, on behalf of myself and our agency director, David Coney, just thank you for your support. We're grateful for you guys supporting this program and being part of Teeks and the Mays Business School to continue this program. When I look around the room, I see a lot of lifelong learners. And that's what we all strive to be, is how do we get better? How do we keep moving that ball forward, even if we've been in this fire service for 20, 30, 40 years, to keep gaining, keep moving forward. At Teeks, we have a motto called Mission First, People Always, that we really take to heart, that we always have the mission of what we do, just like you all, but that part where we really take what we learn and go back to take care of our people becomes that key element of where we're at. And so I encourage you all, when you go back, take what you've learned here, make your departments better, make your people better. We are in the developer mode, not the doer mode anymore. We develop people in the next generation of leaders. We're not the ones out necessarily doing the firefighting, and I take that as a huge compliment to be able to look at who are the people that we're going to bring up after us to continue on the legacy of what we do. And with that, we really want to congratulate you on successful completion of the FSCU class. We're proud of you, and thank you again for supporting us and being here with us. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Well, as you know, the FSCEO program is a collaboration between both Teeks and the Mays School of Business. The amazing professionals over at the Center for Executive Development work very hard to make sure that they deliver a week-long, impactful week full of relevant leadership development opportunities for use in your career. It is my hope that this program and the experiences that you've had this week will have a significant impact on your career, also on your passions and your abilities. As a graduate myself from Class 5 of FSCEO, I can tell you that the experiences that I gained through the program not only helped me serve my community better as an assistant chief, but then later on as a fire chief, and even beyond that. I hope that that's been your experience here this week, genuinely. Here at TEACS, we set out to strengthen communities, and our mission is to make a difference by providing training and developing practical solutions and saving lives. Further, in our leadership program, we endeavor to promote growth and stewardship among fire service professionals and leaders, where our goal is to improve the leader first, who will then in turn develop new leaders, and then that will honestly make for a better day for everybody. Each of you are leaders in your respective communities. Our intention was to provide an experience that will sharpen your leadership abilities and will also reignite your leadership passions. And because you're leaders of the fire service, it is through each of you that the next generation of the fire service will come into view. So today, as graduates of FSCEO, you are now joining an ever-growing community of dedicated fire service leaders committed to improving the quality of life and elevating the profession of emergency services in Texas and beyond. And today you become a graduate of FSCEO and you become an alumnus. You have joined the FSCEO family, and we welcome you. So with that, it is now the time that we have all been waiting for, the issuance of diplomas.
Here we go. We're going to go out of order just for a moment here. We got get somebody on the road. So let's start with David R. Sella. Aaron Michael Bixby. Matthew Kayward. Richard J. Suzuki. John Daniel Cornelius. Charles Z. Crane. Nathan Dower. George Gamez. Charles Grady. Scott Green. Aaron C. Hafer. Jamie E. Hall. Brandon Hamilton. Brian Harris. James Horton. Craig T. Cranky. Kevin Q. Leverance. Jeremy H. Lewis. Heath W. Lipke. Manuel Maldonado. Greg Massey. Angel Ray Mendoza. Patrick N. Murphy. Christian Parsons. Casey Charles Presson. Ryan K. Persley. Mitchell D. Randalls. Vince Rodriguez. Brent Scalise. Jeffrey Smith. Brian G. Stewart. George Douglas Strickland. Brian Lamon Watson. Stephen Watson. Sarah L. Windsor. Congratulations, FSCEO class number 22.
Absolutely, please do.
All right. Okay, sorry, me again. I always do a really good job of telling Sean thank you and how important he is, and I always realize that I forget to do that here. So Paul got us started a little bit with a thank you, but I want to say things you may not know. I know many of you know Sean really well, and you've seen his leadership over time, but you know, he always talks about how this was my vision and all that, and I appreciate it. It's very kind, but this program, it's one of the best programs we do in our center, and we work with multinational Fortune 500 companies. This is one of the finest programs we do. I suspect, and I don't want to, well, I am going to speak for TEACS. I think it's one of the best things TEACS does, quite frankly. I worked there for 10 years, I can say that. But the reason that it is because everybody that's been involved in this program cares, but I have never seen anyone who cares as deeply and handles things as well with such commitment as Sean Fay. And so when I think about how I would describe Sean to somebody I didn't know, the two words that come to my mind are noble excellence, because he accepts nothing less than the best on behalf of those people that he's serving in his programs and those people that work on his team. And he does it in such a graceful way. When I was there, I was a mean mamacita if you mess with our program because I was young and a little bit more stubborn. Sean does the same thing, but he does it with such grace. And it's because of his servant's heart and because he just doesn't accept anything less than perfection for those that he serves. And so I would like to all of us to take a moment and really thank Sean in the way that he deserves. So thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Plunkett. Those are humbling words. I really do appreciate that. Yet I will admit the FSCEO program is something that's very close, very dear to my heart. And so it's really my honor and privilege to even be here. It's more of a reflection of that than it is anything else. I'm just privileged to be in this position. As I compose myself, I have just a couple of other things in closing to wrap up and share with you. We want you to not only know that you're part of the Teagues family now, and not only part of the A&M family, but we would like to explain ways that you can also stay connected to the Teagues Leadership Program. Once we have, before we go any further, once we conclude with today's ceremony, we have the issuance of your framed diplomas to give out to you guys and ladies. So if you would, please meet us in the hallway whenever we get done, and we will be there to receive you and issue out your diplomas to you there. Okay, so one thing I also want to share is that today's ceremony has been recorded, and then next week you'll receive a email with a link that you can go to, and you can not only download the video for today's graduation, but also photos for the class. Also on the screen here, you may have noticed that there is a QR code to join the FSCEO alumni group, and that is a LinkedIn group. And we would encourage you to go ahead, take advantage of that, join that alumni group, and contribute to that. We moderate as Teagues, but it is there for your purposes, and we would encourage you to do that and contribute to it. I also would be remiss if I did not remind you of the upcoming 2025 Leadership Development Symposium. We will be in Frisco this year, and that'll be January 20, 21, and 22. We would encourage you to join us for what we believe will be another outstanding year for another leadership event. But one thing I do also want to take a moment and call out is at that Leadership Development Symposium, if you haven't been a part of the new Texas Hall of Honor Lifetime Achievement and Ceremony, it's a part of the symposium. The induction ceremony is Sunday evenings before the kickoff of the symposium. And this year, we're inducting 4 new people into that Lifetime Achievement honor. So I would encourage you to come out and check that out and participate. In fact, you can go also another slide here, but you can go to txhallofhonor.org to learn all about the event, all about the award, and also to purchase very reasonably priced tickets to a very nice dinner. So please consider doing that. Lastly, I want to take a moment and ask you if you would complete our survey. There's also a QR code in the slide deck here on the TV. And the reason why we ask you to do that is we are considering adding a additional year 2 FSCEO delivery, if you will, and we would like to get feedback from you. We'd like to know what that would look like value to you. So please consider doing that. Graduates of the Fire Service Chief Executive Officer class, number 22, to you I say congratulations. And I also want to personally thank you for being a part of this program, because it's because of your commitment to professionalism and participation in this program that it is so good. I genuinely and sincerely hope that you had an impactful week. I've said it many times, but that is from the heart. And please know you're part of the Texas A&M and the Teagues family now. So we look forward to the next time that we get to see you and say howdy. On behalf of Teagues and Texas A&M Mays School of Business, I wish you safe travels. Thank you. And this concludes our ceremony. We'll see you out in the hallway. Thank you.